Eldon here from Love Life Yarn, and today we're going to be crocheting pumpkins. So this particular pattern uses a single crochet and a front post double crochet to make this nice little textured pattern. We're actually going to be making this really small one together. This is the mini version, and then I have the small version also on my website. It's made in the same way, you just obviously make this one larger. So if you want to, check out the link in the description for the written pattern. It'll take you straight to my blog where both sizes are available for free. And also it has a crocheted stem. So you can see here, we crochet that in single crochet, and it turns out really cute. It's super simple, and I'm going to walk you through every step. So are you ready? Let's get started. Materials you'll need for this project include a bulky weight yarn of your choice. I used an orange yarn here I have from a yarn shop, a worsted weight yarn for the stem, as you can see here, a size J or 6mm hook. We use that both for the body and the stem, a yarn needle, scissors, and some fiber fill to stuff your pumpkin. All right, for the small size here, we're chaining 21. So I have a chain of 21 right here, all ready to go. And now we're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So insert into the stitch. I like to work in the back bumps. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that's 1 single crochet. Then move along to each one of your chains and single crochet. When you finish this row, you should have 20 stitches. So go ahead and single crochet all the way to the end. All right, first row done. Should look like this with your single crochet. And now we're going to work another row of single crochet. So you can see this is the size of our pumpkin's going to be when we fold it in half. So like I said, this is the small version. Go ahead and chain 1. And right here in the stitch, if you're new to crochet, make sure you're going under both loops here and work a single crochet. So just another row of plain single crochet before we begin our bar stitch, which uses our front post. So go ahead and single crochet on these 20 stitches all the way down to the end, and the next row we'll start our textured pattern. All right, 2 rows of single crochet done, and we're ready for the texture. So chain 1 and single crochet in the first 3 stitches. And then we're going to work a front post double crochet. Let me zoom in on this. All right, see these 3 down here that we're going to work in this very first row, yarn over. This is the 4th stitch right here. Go behind it and in front of it. This was the first row of single crochet we did, so you can see 1, 2, 3. They look like little V's. Around the 4th, yarn over and draw up a loop. Yarn over and draw through 2. Yarn over and draw through the last 2. Now I yarned over before I inserted my hook if you're new. You skip that next stitch right there. Single crochet 2. And now we're going to work another front post. So you can see 1, 2, see those single crochet down there, and this next one, we're going to go into our fabric, behind the stitch and back out, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Skip the stitch, it was directly behind. Okay, your front post takes that place now. And you'll just keep working this single crochet 2 and front post double crochet all the way down, depending on how large you want your pumpkin to be. So this is the small one, so I'm going to just keep working this entire row. So you can see it. I'm going to skip single crochet 2 and then front post double crochet. Okay, I always count my stitches like that, 1, 2, and then go on the 3rd. That way I know I'm not working into the wrong stitch. Okay, skip that one. Single crochet 2. Okay, working our front post double crochet. Oh, make sure I'm right behind the stitch there. Now we're getting near the end. If you're looking at the written instructions from the blog, you'll see that it says to work until you have 2 stitches left. So here I am down to the end, and you just have done 2 of your single crochet. Now we have 2 stitches left. You're going to work a front post double crochet in the next to last stitch, and a single crochet in that last stitch. Kind of get a little tight here. You can work in with your fingernail. All right, and there is our textured row. All right, zoom back out a little bit here so you can see. And the next row is going to be a row of single crochet, so chain 1, and single crochet in each stitch. Still working on 20 stitches. We haven't changed our number at all, but single crochet to the end. All right, for row 5, I'm going to zoom in again here. Chain 1, single crochet in the first 3. This is going to be one of your repeat rows, so single crochet 3. And we're going to work a front post double again, but this time look for that front post double crochet you did a couple rows ago. Yarn over, insert around the previous front post and work a double crochet. Okay, it makes a continuous bar there. Skip the stitch behind it, single crochet 2. So it's very similar to what we did before, only you don't have to go looking for that weird single crochet at the bottom. Now you just look for your stitch that sticks out and insert front to back to front and complete a double crochet. And then I always look behind. I like to make sure I'm skipping just one stitch, and because otherwise you get to the end and you're like, man, I messed up. And then, so 2 single front posts. Keep working that all the way down. And then when you get to the last 2 stitches, we're going to, so you can make this as big as you want really, because literally it just has to work where you can do this multiple 3. Now I did add in some selvage stitches so that when we seam it, there's only 2 single crochet in between these front post double crochets, but it's super simple to work out. All right, and we're getting close. Now I'm down to the last 4 stitches, so I'm going to single crochet 2, work my front post double crochet in the last front post double, and single in the very last stitch. Okay, so you can see here how the texture of the pattern is working. So this is 5 rows. You want to work till it's 13 total rows by repeating rows 4 and 5. So single crochet followed by single crochet and the bar stitch, so the front post. So it just works like this. So just keep repeating that till you have 13 rows total. All right, here's my piece after 13 rows are complete. You can see my bar stitches and everything. I'm going to go ahead and leave a long tail for seaming. So I'll get that, cut that out. And then fasten off. All right, and get your yarn needle ready. So I'm going to go ahead and fasten off here. And you need to thread your yarn needle with the tail. And we are ready to begin assembly. So go ahead and put these 2 edges together. And there are 2 ways you can sew this together. You could whip stitch it, which is one way, and that would just be going around and around with your yarn, like so. I'm going to come down here and through this stitch right here. This is technically a whip stitch, this first one. I'm going to use the mattress stitch for mine, but you can literally just go through that and do that the whole way, where you go in and then back out, in, out. The mattress stitch is a little different. Okay, so if you wanted to whip stitch, you literally would go always in and out. Here I'm going to catch a stitch on one side. You can see I'm going through there. And then come back and catch a stitch on the other side. So just go around the post of the stitch. I'm going right next to the front post double crochet on the side where it only had the chain, the last single crochet on the outside, not the chain, 1 single crochet beside it. So as we catch this part right here, we're grabbing that last stitch on this side right beside our front post double, and we're pulling in that 3rd single crochet, that outer edge, so that way there will only be 2 single crochet in between our bar stitches, so that you won't be able to tell where the seam is very well. Because I hate when you can see a big seam. I know if you do take the yarn and like wrap it around and pull it tight, you can hide the seam pretty well with that. But this one, since it has the bar stitch, I did not want to go ahead and cover it up or put like seams on it, so I went ahead and just added in a couple of what they call selvage stitches, which are meant to be the seam of it. So just back and forth with the mattress stitch. All right, when you're done, I honestly, if I have it in the tail end, I will tie a knot in it just to really secure it. Just don't pull it too tight here because you could pull that thread, the yarn right along where you made your mattress stitch. This is going to be the bottom, so I'm going to tuck this in, keep it out of my way a bit, if I can get it in there all the way. It's kind of sticking out. But now we're going to gather the top. So go in and out of the stitches. Okay, you can see I'm just running it in and out. I'm going to do this all the way around. And again, this guy's getting in the way. So just try to keep your other tail end out of the way while you work this. Let's see, there we go. I think it's aside now. All right, in and out. And now go all the way around. All right, now pull it really tight, and this is going to make your bottom. Okay, so you can see I pulled it, and I like to go and kind of stitch through a couple times, different directions, just to make sure the hole stays closed, because honestly it can loosen up, and we don't want that. So go ahead and um, go through. Sorry, it looks like my camera's having trouble focusing on this part, but you can kind of just get the idea of it going through and just closing that hole really well, because this is going to be where we hold the stuffing. So pull it tight. There we go. And tuck your tail in. In there, it's tied off, so we tied it so it's good. Grab your stuffing and go ahead and fill it with fiber fill. Okay, you want to stuff it pretty firmly, but don't put so much in it that it stretches your stitches, because then you'll see the fiber fill sticking through. So just keep putting some in there. I always just go by how it feels. You don't want it too close to the top either, because we're going to cinch that top part as well. So just go ahead and put in a decent amount, and then check the sides. You know, look at it and make sure, like I said, if you're really stretching your stitches, you're going to see fiber fill through them. So you can see a little bit here, but to me that looks pretty good. So I'm going to feel okay with it. You can join a separate piece of yarn at the top here, but I have so much that I'm honestly just going to keep using the same one. So I'm going to take mine and force it all the way through the top, which is not always easy. Get in there, get through the fiber fill. All right, but I like as few ends as possible, so you can do either one. So pull it really tight to make your bottom as flat as you can on there. And then we're going to do the same thing with the top, where we just pull the knot. Honestly, when I do this, I go through and kind of go ahead and close the top. So you can see I kind of just pull it together, and then I'm going to weave in the ends. Sorry, I'll try to keep it on, actually in the screen, I'm sorry. So go ahead and go in and out around, I don't know why these are tight right here, all around all of your stitches, and cinch it closed like we did the bottom. Okay, then go ahead again, pull it closed and stitch up your hole, like make it nice and tight. Okay. If you want, you can run it, like sometimes people, will run it around the outside, and I'm just gonna make sure that it's closed. And then I'm gonna take my yarn needle and pull it through. I can get through. This is not cooperating. It's trying to go all the way through all the fiber fill, and honestly, it's getting stuck. So, and like I said, I'm sorry, it is not focusing on my pumpkin either. There we go. There we go. Pull it tight, tight. Okay. And since mine's not going to get a lot of wear and tear, it's for looks. This one actually put a button on the bottom, so you can see. I thought it would help it like pull it in more, but it really didn't. So I didn't do it for this one. But I kind of like the way it sits with that. So that's up to you if you want to put a button underneath on the bottom. And then I'm just going to weave it through a bit to kind of secure this. Like we've already secured the bottom, but I'm just going to secure the end here by weaving it through a little bit more and kind of going through, and do that a few times. Pull it really tight, because mine's not going to be played with, or if I'm doing something where like a child's going to play with something, I'll do a lot better job weaving in my ends. But this is just going to sit around on the mantle, so I'm not too terribly concerned about weaving my ends in super well, because I'll be honest, I'm kind of lazy about weaving in my ends when it comes to projects. And there we go. I just pull it through, and then I cut the yarn, and that is the body of the pumpkin. And so we'll be ready to make our stem next. Okay, so the body's nice and made. This is the mini one, so it's pretty small. And so just a nice little shape. You can see, here we go. We're going to make the same stem for the small one and the big one. If you don't like it this wide, you're welcome to use less stitches. But we just make it, fold it in half, and sew it on top. So pretty simple. So let's go ahead. If you want to, you could stack them and not make the stem for that one. You could have a little stack. Totally up to you. So let's grab our worsted weight yarn and chain 6. Okay, here I have 6 chained, and we're going to work in the round. So be careful not to twist these, and join with a slip stitch. Okay, you've got a circle here. So chain 1, and just single crochet in that very same, move it up here, single crochet, and then work a single crochet in each of the stitches. So you should always have 6 stitches. So, and I'm not worried about what area of the chain I work into. Like I'm just grabbing one of the loops right now, honestly. It's almost like I'm working back loop only. And that's okay, because the end's going to be stitched in. No one's going to see it. And we're just going to work continuous rounds of single crochet for 8 rounds. So I have 6 here, and I'm just going to keep working around and around. So honestly, when I'm doing something like this, rather than getting a stitch marker, I'm just going to count 48 stitches, because 6 times 8 is 48. So I'm going to work around and around for 6 rounds, which is 48 stitches, and then our stem will be ready to sew on. All right, here is my finished stem with 48 stitches total. So 8 rounds of 6 stitches, and leave you a long tail again for stitching and cut. And then we're going to fasten off. All right, so the way this works is it's a flat tube. Let me get my yarn needle back out. Take the orange yarn out, definitely. And we're going to thread it with, next thing you fold it in half. So we're going to thread it and then fold it in half, and that becomes our stem. You can see right here where I have that one. Like I said, if you want it to be smaller on this smaller one, because this is kind of a big stem for this, definitely go ahead and work on less stitches, or make it less than 8 rows. Totally up to you. I'm going to tie this. I'm sorry, it's getting down here on the bottom. Try to keep it up on screen. It gets a little hard when it's camera's up top and you're trying to do it all and keep your hands in the screen. And I never can look at my camera either. I have to look at the actual project. Like some people can look at their cameras while they are working. It's just so hard for me. So go ahead and there you go. I'm going to thread it, and we're going to just stitch it together. And just go back and forth kind of to keep it closed. And then we're going to just stitch it in place And there's really no right way to stitch it in place in the top of the pumpkin. So don't feel like you're doing it wrong, because literally you just like find out where you want it and you put the yarn. We're gonna get rid of the other tail end later. You just kind of go underneath a stitch and pull through, and then go through a stitch in your stem and pull through, and just keep going back and forth, like work a little bit into your body of the pumpkin and then a little bit through your stem and just back and forth all the way around. All right, so it's secure. I feel comfortable with this. You kind of just squish it a little bit, and then I'm gonna just hide these ends inside. I feel comfortable with how it is, so I'm just gonna take my yarn needle and go through the middle. Like I said, if I was doing it for like a child's toy or something, I would definitely make sure my ends were much more secure, but with this, I'm really not that worried. It's probably horrible, but I mean, it's gonna sit there and just be pretty. Okay, so I'll do the same thing with the other side. You would just tuck, weave it through there, and then that's it. Okay, find the pattern for the larger one on my blog as well at love.life.yarn.com.